Hello, this is Artemis_anime, and today I am reading Chapter 13, Stirring the Pot of Viridian by Silvermist Anime Lover. I hope you enjoy. Tsukauchi Namasa was tired and overworked. It wasn't a pretty combo, but it was something he was used to. And the USJ case was a top priority right now. It had a ton of media attention and a lot of angry parents waiting behind the proverbial red tape. He shuddered to think of how Eraserhead was going to deal with that. He supposed his friend's main saving grace was the fact that he'd been grievously injured protecting said children, so the parents would hopefully go easier on the teacher, even if they didn't go easy on the school itself. So Namasa had done the logical thing. He'd called in Viridian to help. The man had become their ace in the hole. He was a literal godsend. Not only was his information reliable, accurate, and extensive, but the man himself was an excellent at problem solving and had a knack for seeing the details that the heroes and police had missed. If Viridian ever decided on becoming a detective instead of a hero, Namasa would honestly hand in his badge. This man was far more capable. He was privately glad the Vigilante wanted to be a hero instead. He liked his job. Eraserhead showed up first. "Hey, how are you holding up?" he asked the hero. The man was still practically a mummy, and he idly wondered if he was even supposed to be out of bed. He and Viridian have a lot in common. "Actually, rather well," Eraser admitted. "I expected a lot of angry parents, but there were really only one or two. Some even sent me get well soon and thank you cards. Hakagure's parents sent me flowers." Huh, that's a nice surprise. Namasa wasn't expecting that. Another student's parents came to thank me in person. Apparently word got out to the parents that I nearly died while trying to protect their kids, so that's probably got a lot to do with it. Though, I didn't hear anything from Midoriya's parents. His brows furrowed. "You're worried about him, aren't you?" He lacks a medical record after he was diagnosed quirkless, and he's completely okay with being bullied. He's underweight and has more scars than most pros. He fights like it's second nature and doesn't hesitate to kill when defending his classmates. What am I supposed to think? His parents never even came while he was in the hospital despite us trying to notify them. And the number we had on file turned out to be the private number of Pro Hero Hawks. When you put it that way, Namasa had to admit it was worrying. A student with prior trauma that he refused to elaborate on. He had some sort of connection to the Nomu, thus the League, but was not the alleged traitor. He'd nearly killed himself trying to protect his classmates and teacher, so they could safely assume he was on their side. But the amount of secrets this kid kept was worrying. It sounded like abuse or abandonment. Maybe he's living on the streets? Abandoned by his parents when he was diagnosed quirkless? It's happened before. I know. Eraserhead rubbed his face with his cast. It would certainly explain a lot. I still feel like we're missing something though. A lot of somethings. If he was homeless, then why would Hawks say that he was occasionally staying at Midoriya's place? I doubt the number 3 hero would condone a child living on the streets. Right. I keep forgetting about Hawks. Namasa felt a headache flaring up. We'll talk about this a bit more later. Maybe Viridian can shed some insight. Right. Eraserhead glanced at the clock. I'll go get him. He should be here soon. Viridian stretched his arms over his head as he walked down the street. It wasn't often that he was out and about in daytime hours, but Tsukauchi had asked him to come in for whatever reason, so he figured there was no harm. It was a Saturday after all, so no school. Kaigo was kicking it back at the camper, trying to help Izuku brainstorm ways to explain his unique situation to the UA staff, because he figured that after he explained himself to Nezu, Shota, and Hisashi, he'd probably end up having to explain himself to the rest of the staff as well. He'd had to laugh when Kaigo had mentioned a girl he knew that had a memory viewing quirk. They'd kept that as the last desperate option, because Izuku was neither keen on reliving everything, nor did he want to traumatize his teachers. He wanted them to believe him, not give them nightmares. Some guy on the street stopped to stare at him with an odd expression. "You're the shadow hero, Viridian!" he cried out, and said Vigilante stopped in shock. I'm sorry, what? Did someone seriously just recognize him? He'd never get used to that. "Yeah, right! That's Viridian! Can I have an autograph?" "How do you do it, quirkless?" "You're a true inspiration to all of us who don't have combative quirks." "Hey, fucking loser, you're just a wannabe." Okay, that last one was much more familiar than everything else. I feel like I should clarify something. Viridian scratched the back of his head awkwardly. I'm technically not a licensed hero. I just help out whenever the police need me. I'm technically a vigilante. The crowd was starting to make him uncomfortable. "But you have to have a quirk to be a vigilante," a woman said, walking up towards him. She was very beautiful, and if Izuku swung that way, he might even be flustered. "And you, sir, have no quirk, so you aren't a vigilante. That means you're a hero." She leaned in further, showing off some rather impressive assets. It was only then he realized she held a recording device. "Nikamura Naria, with the MC News. Mind giving me a statement?" He didn't know how to respond. This kind of situation was not his forte at all. "Sorry, I really don't have the time." "There you are, Viridian. You're late. Officer Sansa, to the rescue." Viridian felt like crying in relief. He'd rather face a black gnome blindfolded than a reporter. He quickly jumped backwards, flipping so his feet hit the side of the building behind him, and sprung over the crowd that had gathered. He then wasted no time in sprinting the rest of the way to the station, Sansa watching in amusement the whole time. Little bastard. "About time you got here." Eraserhead raised an eyebrow as Viridian caught his breath. "I hate crowds. I don't know how the Limelight heroes do it." He ignored the way the underground hero chuckled at his expense, instead opting to glare. He fished out his phone when it buzzed.
"Shadow Slayer. Dude, you're on the news. Did you really have to springboard off the building?" "Viridian Chaos. Yes, I did. You know I hate crowds." "Shadow Slayer. And yet you're typically so good with people." "Viridian Chaos. Don't lie, it's unbecoming. We both know my people skills are shit."
He locked his phone and dropped it in his pocket. Masa and Eraser had made him upgrade to a hero-grade smartphone, which he'd promptly disassembled and reassembled without tracers. "So, Masa, why'd you want to see me?" "We'll explain in the office." "I'm not in trouble, am I?" Viridian tilted his head. Eraserhead snorted. "As if we could actually catch you if you were. I mean, it didn't work the first time." He smirked. "You really have no idea, do you?" Shota looked incredibly amused. "No idea about what?" Now he was lost. What the hell was Shota getting at? "You're one of the most powerful people in Japan, Viridian." Sad Vigilante choked. He would have laughed, but he knew that Shota wouldn't joke about something like that. What? Me? How? What? That's illogical!" He spluttered, flustered. Eraserhead gave him an amused smirk. "You are so elusive that we had to make a partnership with you in order to actually speak to you face to face. You're listed in our database as the number 3 vigilante in the world." Okay, that was news. And number 1 in Japan. The fact that you're quirkless, now globally known, means that you're damn near legally untouchable, and everyone knows it. You're the first unlicensed legal hero. The police made this deal on your terms, Viridian. If we wanted to catch you, you would just slip away again. And if we somehow did manage to catch you, the public would riot until you were freed. People are already starting campaigns to get you a license. He looked at the shell-shocked Viridian in the eye. "You really didn't know?" Kaigo would be rolling on the ground right now. "I don't exactly Google myself, you know." He hadn't searched up his vigilante name in months. He'd been a little busy preparing for UA and the like. "Well, with your extensive information network, I thought you would have kept tabs on how the public saw you." As if I care how the public sees me. He shuddered as he remembered the crowd. So maybe I should. Glad you could make it, Tsukuuchi grinned, beckoning them into the room. Take a seat. The two sat down. So, new case? Viridian ventured, now glad to be back on a familiar topic. Sort of. It's new to you, but the USJ incident. Both Hero and Vigilante stiffened. When you first proposed our partnership, Viridian, you asked us to keep a lookout for Shigaraki Tomura. Well, we found him. Tsukuuchi slapped the file down on the desk before the Vigilante, who curiously picked it up. It was the file on the USJ alongside photos and statements, including his own. He headed on the attack on UA, and since you're after him, I figured you'd like to be brought onto the case. I'd like that very much, Viridian grinned. So tell me, Masa. He laced his fingers together under his chin as he leaned forward. What have you got on Shiggy? It was 3 hours later that Viridian decided he hated police investigations. They were tedious and time-consuming. Sure, he'd worked on plenty of cases with Masa and Shota before, but this was a case his civilian persona was involved in. Maybe it's time for a shift in subjects, Eraserhead finally said, and Viridian sighed in relief. Thank you. We wanted your opinion on another case. Tsukuuchi handed him another envelope. It's not an official case, though, and we intend to keep it that way. It's about the well-being of a student. The moment Viridian opened the file, he really wished he hadn't. His own photo smiled back at him. Motherfucker. He's a student of mine, Midoriya Izuku, and until recently, we thought he might have been the UA traitor, Eraserhead explained. Viridian's head has unease well. Alright, what am I investigating? I'm asking for this as a favor. Eraser took a deep breath. A favor to a friend. Ah, shit, he's pulling the friend card. I'm so fucking screwed. Viridian spent the next half an hour listening to Tsukuuchi and Shota list out every little thing about his civilian persona that he'd tried to hide. The scars, the lack of medical files, damn it, he knew he'd forgotten about something. Trauma, flashbacks, knowledge about the Nomu, suspicions of kidnapping or living on the streets, and for once, he really didn't know what to do. He had all the answers they were looking for, and in his current state of semi-panic, he couldn't think clearly enough to look at the situation objectively. All he could really think about was the pair of rings that sat under his Vigilante uniform, the main connection between Midoriya Izuku and Viridian. He looked over the file and winced, internally. They'd gathered more than they thought it would. You said Midoriya was going to give you the information after the sports festival, right? He looked at Shota. Right. That's what he promised me, at least. But I'm worried. If his home life is crap, or he's living on the streets, then he might not survive until the sports festival. Viridian was internally offended. I can survive on the streets just fine, thank you. An idea suddenly flickered into his head. I'll keep an eye on him for you, he offered, and the two men turned to him with a raised eyebrow. You're gonna stalk him? Just until the sports festival. He mentally willed them to accept his proposal. Damn good at staying under the radar, you know. I'll keep him out of trouble until the sports festival rolls around. It's just a couple of weeks. It'll be fine. This kid's a trouble magnet if I've ever seen one. Eraserhead groaned. I have half a mind to join you. Shit. Nope. No. What? You don't trust me? Besides, that'll cut into your day job. And your weekend sleep. Which we all know you can't function without. I can function without. God knows I've had to with you running around all last year. He sent Viridian a glare, which he promptly ignored. No, I think Viridian's right. Let him trail the kid for the next 2 weeks. Maybe he can pick up on some things we've missed. Tsukuuchi spoke up, and Viridian felt like he could kiss the man in gratitude as Eraserhead hesitantly nodded along. Time, I love you, Masa. You're officially my best friend. Fine, Eraserhead sighed. Just please keep in contact. Will do, though I can't follow him past UA gates. I suppose that'll be safe enough? I'll talk to Nezu about granting you a pass later, if that's what you want. Racer nearly bashed his nose with his cast in an attempt to pinch the bridge of the nose. And this time, Viridian didn't feel like holding back his laughter. He earned a glare for his efforts. Elsie, I'd like to see you move around with these stupid things on. But that'd require a hospital visit, and we all know that's not going to happen anytime soon. We can hope it doesn't need to happen anytime soon, Tsukuchi chimed in with Claire. Which reminds me, Viridian, since Eraserhead's out of commission right now, I was hoping you'd take over his patrol schedule. Vigilante blinked. Is your agency okay with that? I'm not licensed. 1, I'm an independent hero. I don't have an agency. 2, we're making an exception this time. Tsukuchi smirked. Smile. He smiled on reflex as the flash blinded him for a brief moment. What? He heard the sounds of a portable printer. Here you are, your provisional hero's license. Viridian stared at the small strip of plastic in shock. This is a sick joke, you know that? It's not a joke, Eraserhead stated. The public rioted that you haven't been licensed, and the Hero Committee looked over your numbers. They looked at how many criminals you've managed to catch versus collateral damage and decided to grant you a provisional license. You'll have another review in a few months, and they'll decide from there if you've actually earned the right to take the exam for the actual license. Well, you had a couple different heroes vouch for you, too, Tsukuchi said. The specifics on who were kept under wrap, but there's rumors that Hawks and even All Might recommended you. All Might? Viridian blinked. I thought he disliked the quirkless. He looked at the ID card again. So, this is real? He felt his eyes moisten. Sure is, Tsukuchi grinned. Congratulations, Viridian. You're a legal hero now. The first quirkless hero the world's seen. He quickly swiped the tears away, but they wouldn't stop. The two men shared a surprised look as his shoulders shook. You okay? Eraserhead asked. I never thought I'd ever... All my life, people looked at me like I wasn't even human. They laughed at my dreams of being a hero, and I never thought I'd have a shot at it. Now I have a license. It's just provisional, so be careful. You can engage as you see fit, but try to keep casualties and collateral to a minimum. Any little thing can hurt your chances at the exam. Eraser reminded him. I know, but... He looked at the card, which had a picture of his vigilante persona smiling back, only his eyes visible. The name Viridian was printed neatly at the top beside the word hero. Thank you.
Cult of Viridian Chapter. Gay a fanime boy is online. Gay a fanime boy. Yee! Dragon in a dress. Are you okay? Moldy Broccoli. Yee! Demonic gay microwave. Oh god, not again. Gay a fanime boy. Yee! Nice scarily. Not another yee war. Barbie is a whore. Better than the Heat versus You war. And definitely better than Teletubbies sticker spam. Shudders. Moldy Broccoli. Yee! The cake is a lie. Don't remind me, I'm still traumatized. Gay fanime boy. Yee! No, scaredly. Can someone please just explain what's going on? Moldy Broccoli. It's amazing. Gay fanboy. Incredible. Moldy Broccoli. A miracle. Gay fanime boy. A blessing I've been praying for. Dragona in a dress. Still not an explanation, guys. Moldy Broccoli. Viridian got a hero license. He's legal now. Smiley face. Gay fanime boy. He's the world's first quirkless hero. It's amazing. Barbie is a whore. Ah, that explains her excitement. Nods. No, scared away. Well, they are the two biggest Viridian fans on the server. Gay fanime boy. And now, maybe I can go and actually meet him someday at a panel or something. At a HeroCon. And thank him for saving my life. Smiley face. I can't wait. I'm so excited. No, scared away. I'm going to bed. Night. Manly Riot. GB. Exclamation point. I'm going to bed. Gay anime boy. Eep! Sorry, bro. Manly riot. Don't apologize. Go to bed. Gay anime boy has logged out.
This is chapter 13, Stirring the Pot of Viridian by Silver Mist Anime Lover. In this fanfiction, there are 23 chapters, and we are on chapter 13. So if you have any recommendations for the fanfiction to read after this, please comment them down below, because we are going through this pretty fast, and I'm unsure what you guys would like. Thank you for listening, and I hope you all have a wonderful day. Bye!